Hi, I'm Mandy back with another video. Today I want to talk about bullying within the framework of autism spectrum disorders. Many times through the years, and sadly, I've had parents come to me and the kids have even disclosed things that they really sometimes don't know that they're disclosing as being victims of bullying when the child's perception is, but they're my friend. I don't know how many parents out there have heard this before from your child who is diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder when they're interacting with a peer or a group of peers who clearly are initiating some type of behavior at your child's expense, but your child states that they're his friends. So this can be heartbreaking and devastating to you guys. I know, like I said, I've gone through it with many families through the years. But let me explain to some of you who may have not worked with me why my child feels like these people are friendly or these other kids are a friend. And the concept of your child feeling like they're his friend is much more straightforward than you might imagine. When I talk about the diagnosis and the bell curve with the people who are diagnosed with autism spectrum disorders, and then us over here with non-spectrum spectrum disorders, and how we form one continuous bell curve, we over here in this category tend to attribute a lot of feelings and emotions attached to an interaction with another peer or with another person in the way that we understand how the interaction is going, and we have a desired or relatively expected outcome, and we know what to anticipate the next time, and we know how to bond with those people in whatever way that we do. When we think about this population over here, as I mentioned before in other videos, the way that generally this population bonds, it's not that they have a lack of feeling, but it's usually through activity, especially younger kids. So I'm going to talk elementary, middle school age, even maybe in high school, depending on the person. So when we are teaching kids with autism spectrum disorders social skills as they grow up, many of them are not learning these incidentally, which means they don't learn them naturally or by watching other people and picking that skill up. We have to teach them. And when we teach them, quite often we're forming what we call scripts, or a little dialogue or a rundown about the rules about how we navigate a specific situation. Oftentimes when we're teaching kids with autism spectrum disorders to read nonverbal cues, we're telling them to look for what? A smile, laughter, that indicates that someone's happy. With that piece alone, let me just use that as just one tiny example of the whole range of things that could be going on when a child's getting bullied. Let's just talk about that one piece. So if a group of kids is engaged in bullying your child, chances are they're getting some gratification from it, or else they wouldn't be doing it in the first place. And how that often looks is what? Or laughing. So it becomes very difficult for a lot of kids with this diagnosis when we've scripted them for so long to understand that this is happy and the person is pleased when we have a behavior that's being, exhibited to them or toward them by a person who's doing this, to frame it or interpret it as anything other than acceptable, pleasant, happy, appropriate. So that's just one tiny piece of the puzzle. I could speak a lot more about this, but I'd like to hear your feedback if your child's been through this. I think bullying is very common today. I'm not sure that it wasn't ever not common. I think that there are different reasons for why it's at the forefront today in a lot of different areas. But let me know in the comments below if you have any other questions about bullying, or if I can take this a step further, specifically for anything that you might want to know.